Hey guys, welcome to You the Boss podcast, episode 83, where we step into our power, we build real confidence, and we become the person our goals actually require. Today's episode is going to be a little bit personal. I guess they're all personal at this point. But we're going to be talking about something that every single one of us deals with, whether we want to admit it or not. And that is self-doubt. That little voice, that quiet whisper that shows us, or that shows up right when you're about to do something bold and it says, who do you think you are? You're not ready. What if this doesn't go through? What if this doesn't work out? What if, I start posting and I slip up and my consistency goes down and I fail again? And that voice. And today we're not going to pretend it doesn't exist. We're not going to just say, just think positive, change your mind. We're going to learn how to stop letting it run the show. So let's just get real about self-doubt. I want to start there because I think this is important. Self-doubt does not mean something is wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're not confident. It doesn't mean that you're not capable. It means that you're human. That voice is a learned voice. It's built from past experiences, things people said to you, moments where you felt embarrassed or rejected. You're comparing yourself online. You follow a bunch of people that initially when you followed them, they were meant to inspire you and give you a little bit more of a kick to, motivate what it is that you want to do. And there's a fear of being seen. It's your brain trying to keep you safe. But the problem is when you're kept safe, now you feel stuck. You started out by trying to keep yourself safe and not experience rejection and experience the failure, but now it's kept you stuck. Now you can't really move. And the truth is, this is something that people don't want to talk about, but confident people still have that voice. They just don't listen to it. They just decide to turn down the volume on it and they continue. They keep going. And I just want to be very clear about this. The problem is not the actual voice. The problem is that you believe it. Negative thoughts are going to happen. That's just part of life. We're surrounded by so many negative things at all times, whether it's on our phones, whatever we consume on TV, whatever we consume online, whatever we're consuming, in our day-to-day, wherever we work, whoever we work with. And the real issue is that you have to stop treating these thoughts like they're facts. You start to think like, oh, I'm not ready. Now all of a sudden you're saying, I'm not even trying. And maybe you're thinking you're not good enough. And that turns into you're playing small. What if I fail? That turns into you're never starting. And that's where self-doubt becomes a problem because it starts affecting your decisions. It starts affecting your consistency. It starts affecting your energy, your ability to trust yourself. And over time, it creates a version of you that holds back even when you're capable of more. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the way self-doubt sneaks into your life. Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes it's these grand things where you're like, oh, wow, like I doubted myself. But a lot of the time it's very subtle. It shows up as overthinking everything. You start researching things and you get like paralysis of analysis. You start procrastinating things that matter. You need everything to be just right before you start. You need the content to be right. You need the lighting to be right. You need the time to be right. And you're talking yourself out of opportunities. You're saying, oh, I'm not ready for that. Like, I don't have that on my resume. So it must mean that I'm not good at it. And it's waiting until you start to feel ready. And let me just say this clearly. You are not waiting for readiness. You're waiting for permission. And self-doubt keeps you stuck in that waiting. So let's rewire that a little bit. I want to give you guys some tools because it does help to be aware, but we need to take action. 2026, we're finishing the first quarter. It's not meant for you to sit still. 2026 is here for you to bring action to the things that you want to accomplish. So number one, I want you to name the voice. This one's simple, but it's very powerful. When negative thoughts come up, I want you to separate yourself from it. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, shift it to, that's the fear talking. Stop it right there. Or that's my doubt voice. You can give it a name if you want. If you want to call it Peter or John or Elizabeth, you give it a name, because when you cause that separation, you take your power back. Number 2, interrupt and replace. You don't need to pretend that the voice isn't there. You don't need to pretend that you don't have any self-doubt, but you do need to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this actually true? Is this helping me? And then replace it with something that's grounded. No fake positivity. No, you can do anything. Not, I'm the best, but something real. Like, I'm learning and I'm getting better. I can figure this out. I've done hard things before. I can do hard things. That's a personal favorite. Confidence is built on believable thoughts, not on perfect ones. Number 3, evidence journal. I mentioned this a few weeks back about, how much your brain loves things that are proof. So give it some. Start writing down the wins, big or small. Moments that you showed up when you didn't want to. Moments where you took the 20 to 30 minutes extra to, work towards your goals of 7,000 steps a day. Compliments that you've received. If someone said they loved your shirt, if someone said they loved your hair, if they saw you out and they said, oh my gosh, where did you get that? Write those down. And maybe things you've overcome. Because self-doubt says that you can't. But your life will give you receipts. It does give you receipts already. And so you need to acknowledge them. Number 4, talk to yourself like someone you love. This one is a personal favorite, because we're so quick to, whenever our best friends are talking bad to themselves, we're quick to be like, why are you talking to yourself like that? Don't talk to yourself like that. How about the way you talk to yourself? If you wouldn't say some of the things that you think to yourself, like, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, I'm this, I'm that. If you wouldn't say those things to your best friend, why are you saying them to yourself? You wouldn't tell them you're not good enough. You wouldn't tell them you should just give up. You wouldn't tell them you fail anyway. You're never consistent. You always drop the ball. You wouldn't say that to them. So why are you saying that to yourself? What makes it okay for you to say that to yourself? Start practicing self-correction instead of self-criticism. You can be honest without being harsh. You can say, all right, Pam, you dropped the ball there, but that's okay. We're going to pick it up and we're going to keep going. Number 5, identity-based thinking. Instead of focusing on who you are right now, focus on who you're becoming. Shift your thoughts to, I'm becoming someone who trusts herself. I'm becoming someone who shows up even when it's uncomfortable. I'm becoming someone who follows through. Because again, confidence isn't something you have, it's something that you build. You don't need confidence to start these things. This might be the biggest mind shift of all. You don't need to feel confident, because you're not going to. That's just not realistic every day. Surprise. You build confidence by showing up. You build confidence by taking action. You keep promises to yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when you're unsure. That's how self-trust is built. It's not by thinking, it's by doing. It's by saying, you know what? Last week, maybe the week before, maybe the last couple of weeks, I dropped the ball on some of the things that I want to be consistently doing. But you know what? This is a new week. I'm going to start anew, and just do it a day at a time. Stop looking at 6 weeks from now. Look at right now. That might look like, you know what? I don't want to show up online anymore. And instead of using that as an excuse, say, you know what? I'm going to create a space where I don't have to show up online. On the days that I feel really good, I'm just going to record a couple of videos and I'm just going to reuse the content. I know that I talk a lot about showing up online and social media and content creation. And I know that a lot of you are in that space that listen to this podcast. And some of you aren't. Some of you are corporate baddies, and I respect you so much, because again, you still show up to your corporate job when the world is literally on fire. But you still have to show up. You're still showing up in your relationships. You're still showing up for yourself. And so I want you to know that in building that trust, it's just showing up every single day for yourself and taking action, which you already do. You get up every day and brush your teeth. So why not add a little something extra to that so that you're consistently building the trust with yourself? I always like to suggest books to you guys because I love to read. If you're watching this on YouTube, I have books behind me. I have books not in the frame to my left. I have books on my phone. I have books on my nightstand. I probably have a book in my car and my husband's car. And I say that to you because I think reading is important. It is one of the best low stimulation items that we still have left in the world where we're able to read physical things. And also because I think it's important when you're on the journey to self progress and self development for you to consume books and consume different forms of media that help you change your voice. So I've got 2 books here. I'm sorry I didn't write down the authors, but that'll be in the show notes. So I'll definitely look out for those. That first book is The Mountain Is You. This one I'm working myself through actually presently, slowly but surely. I'm usually reading like 2 to 3 books at a time, and they don't all get read at the same time, but sometimes I just pick one up and I read a couple chapters from it and then I put it down and whatever. But The Mountain Is You is really good because it understands self-sabotage and the emotional patterns. And then the other one is You Are a Badass. This one's a little bit lighter than The Mountain Is You, but it's great for shifting your mindset and it's great for confidence. This one I actually listened to on audio. And again, really good perspective. And it kind of takes the heaviness out of you reminding yourself that you're a badass. Even even in reading, reading in these kinds of books or any kind of book, really, when it comes to your confidence, it always shows up to for you to monitor how you speak to yourself. So before we close, I want you to actually do a little bit of an exercise. And I want you to take a minute and think of one thought that you've been repeating lately. Maybe it's, I really need to apply to a different job. Maybe it's, I'm so exhausted. How can I just keep going like this? How can I keep up with this certain thing? How am I going to add something else to my plate? But I want you to write it down. And then I want you to ask, what is this costing me? And finally, what's a better thought that I can practice? That's where change starts. It's not overnight. It starts consistently. It starts with you showing up every single day and deciding to change that thought. I want to leave you with this. Self-doubt doesn't mean that you stop. It doesn't mean that you don't keep going. It usually means that you're growing. You're stepping into something new, something uncomfortable, something bigger, and most of the time, something really exciting. And that self-doubt voice, it's not your truth. It's just noise. You don't need to silence it completely. Just turn the volume down. You need to decide that it's not in charge anymore. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with someone who needs a reminder. And don't forget, you're not here to play small. You are the boss of your life. I'll talk to you on the next episode.